In this episode, we're talking about a game where death has been kidnapped by a vampire? I don't know. It's BloodRush Undying Wish. This and more on Indie Game Arcade. Welcome to Indie Game Arcade, a podcast that deep dives into the latest and greatest indie games. My name is Chris.
I'm Joseph.
Have you ever wanted to join an undead cult, Joseph, and kidnap death so that you may no longer die? Have you ever thought about doing that?
Definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah. Mine too. It's a little bit farther down. Like, I've got a couple other things to do first. Like a couple places I want to travel and stuff.
Yeah, like I want to go to Japan first, but then join Undead Cult is
on my
probably second on the list.
Yeah, same. But yeah, that's the basic premise of BloodRush Undying Wish.
Game start!
So BloodRush Undying Wish released to early access on July 1st, 2025, developed by Lightmancer Studios and published by Nuntius Games and, Vizoo Games? Vizoo? I don't know, man. Retails for $9.99. First quick description. This is a roguelike action RPG where you play as a stranger who was supposed to have died and have no memory of who you are. However, death has been captured by a group called the Cult of Eternity. Hey, I feel like that needs more grandiose. The Cult of Eternity. That just sounded more like I started morphing into Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah.
And therefore, the Cult of Eternity, brother. Rise into the top. Therefore, the rules of death no longer apply. As such, you're working alongside this being called Morgan to defeat the cult leaders and release death to restore balance. So this was a really interesting game. It's got some really interesting mechanics to it that are like slightly different than your typical roguelike. And like the main mechanic that I wanted to definitely hit on, which I think is maybe the most interesting, is like when you get into battle, like you're not battling all the time, but you think of other games of this ilk like Hades or something like that. You sometimes there's that pause, then you select where you're going to go. But when you get into that next area and the enemies start spawning, your health immediately starts to drain whether you are taking damage or not. Like you can still take damage from enemies, but your health is just going to drain over time. And you have to kill enemies to retrieve like little orbs and things like that to get that replenish that blood, which is your health, which I found that really interesting. And like, to me, definitely made it a little bit more like put more pressure on the entire thing, but in kind of a fun way.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I felt that it's hard for me to say, honestly. Like I spent some time with it. I feel like I got through it, but it almost felt like too easy for my liking. Just initially, as far as like my first experience with it goes, I'm sure like there's more complexity as it progresses. But yeah, like at first it was just like, all right, let me just like kill this guy, jump to the next guy, kill him, get my blood. I guess I was just like going through it so rapidly. I didn't really notice a lot of the nuance to it because it was just happening so fast. Yeah. But it's like the way you're able to just zip around so quickly, I didn't feel a lot of like tension to it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I never felt like under pressure, like, oh, I'm about to die because I'm running out of blood slowly. That point never hit me. Not to say that it won't like later on, since we just played the demo of it, which I don't know how much of the full game that's encapsulating. And even then, it's early access. So who knows how much of like the fully planned experience we actually got.
I'm glad you mentioned like how quick you're like, you're zipping and dashing around too, which is something I like, is that you move pretty fast through this game too, like with all the dashes and your like string shot thing, which is really cool. Like, and there's also like the idea of like when you get into some of these little like, I don't know, like miniature arenas when you're going into the fights and stuff. Cause so you're kind of dropped in this arena hub style area, and then you pick certain statues, and those statues will tell you, this fight will be, easy or normal or hard. And then you kind of pick like, which one you want to go to. At least in this first part of the game, once you get through like the beginning stage and it kind of acclimates you to how this game works and stuff, you get dropped there and there's this gate, but you need 4 keys to unlock this particular gate to get to this particular boss, which was Cassius for us in the demo. Then you have to go to those different zones, picking whatever difficulty, and then, retrieve a key once you finish that zone. So you're kind of going to those, getting those keys. But when you get dropped in those, like sometimes it's like the area in which you're fighting on is all one solid like area, but sometimes they're like broken up and you're having to dash across like gaps and stuff where like there's almost like a ravine or something that you have to jump across and stuff, which I thought was kind of fun. Like I like that it was set up differently every time. The one thing that that really got to me was those freaking ones that those mobs that come in so fast and they make that screeching sound. They explode when they get like close to you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, those things were making me so angry.
You also
eventually I learned you could deflect them.
Oh yeah.
But
that was
it took me a minute to figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah. And or like just fire at them. Like you do have your auto aim on your gun that's pretty accurate. So I didn't have, once I like realized that it was just gonna like lock onto them and shoot them and they're just like 1-hit kills, it wasn't too bad. But I know what you mean. Like the little like one-eyed things that are running at you.
Little purple guys.
Yeah. So you also, on that note, have a like revolver that you're using, a 6-shooter that recharges as you like hit enemies with your melee attack. So it's like your ammo is replenishing as you're fighting, which I always like systems like that, where it's like I don't feel bad using my gun if the ammo is something that I can recharge myself versus trying to find ammo out in the wild. That's when I am just like holding onto my bullets for dear life. I don't know if I'm going to find any more. Whereas with this kind of system, it's like, okay, it's just a recycling system of melee, range. And so I would say definitely hold on to your bullets for things like those exploding enemies. But you can, as you said, confidently or not, like knock them away with your melee weapon. But like sometimes like when there's a bunch flying at you at once, it's hard to sort of do that when they're all right on you.
Yeah, there was like a few times where there would be like 3 or 4 coming at me at once.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh man, what do I do?
From all different directions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the part too, is that they're all screaming at you when they're coming in. It's like, God, stop.
Yeah.
But it is so satisfying though when you like hit one with like a melee attack, because they don't just like explode and die. Like they will fling off and they will hit like another enemies, like mob or something and take them out. And that feels so good to take somebody else out using those things. Like it's very satisfying.
Yeah, that's almost like a pinball mechanic added to this.
Yeah. It's super, super fun. And so I learned too that there's like 4 weapons right now in early access. So aside from like what you and I had, with 6 planned. So there's going to be even more like added and everything. So, I'm interested to see what all does get added, to see like, obviously they already have a plan for this is what's in early access. This is what's going to be coming later. So I like that they've got those milestones already kind of laid out and everything. That's additional with like the talents and upgrades. So like right now there's like 20. They're planning for over 30 later. And I like how the talent system and stuff works too, which is you're not just unlocking them and then they're sticking to your character. What you're doing is really unlocking the chance of finding them. So like you can get like a talent or an upgrade or something when you're out like doing your run. But what you're doing is you're unlocking those talents for the opportunity for them to like pop up while you're out there and doing it. So
yeah. There's a lot of like roguelike games that do that, actually, just unlocking more either talents or items for you to find on your progressive runs. So that's something I'm glad they kind of stuck with, because I do like that sort of system where it gives me incentive to continue like doing runs, because now it's like, okay, my other runs will now have a lot more opportunity for variety in them. This is a game that I will, even though like I guess my initial like thoughts of it were a little bit like middle of the road, or mid, as they say. I think like it may surprise me if I give it more of a chance. Like maybe just the demo is just like the kind of easier parts. I wish they had like thrown in some maybe more challenging portion of it to show you like what is available in the game versus just like, okay, well, this is, it is what it is right now. But I also don't know if I want to buy an early access game, only because those are always kind of a crapshoot. And I'm not to say like you shouldn't do that and support devs, whatever, but like if your impression of a demo is kind of like, you're not sure yet, then maybe wait it out and like watch how the early access is progressing and go from there. And or if you do love the demo and want to support it, then absolutely buy into the early access.
I also really like, because I'm a lore nerd, I really like the like lore drops that you get too as you progress. So like you learn more about the world, about who you were as the stranger and stuff. Like he gets like little bits of memory and stuff here and there throughout the runs. And a lot of times it's kind of like if you fail, you quote unquote die or whatever. You don't actually die. You just end up back at Morrigan and you're having to kind of start over again. But like each time you kind of learn a little bit more about what's going on. And I do appreciate that. I think that's cool. One thing we didn't talk about is the Death's Door thing, which maybe you didn't even get to that point.
Maybe.
If it was easy for you. This was not I'm going to concede you this. This was not like a super challenging game. It was like somewhat of a challenge for me, but like, it's not like I've played very, very, much harder games, but like with, so Death's Door is like, once you get to a certain threshold with your, like, you have like a blood meter, then you are at like Death's Door. And that is kind of like, the screen goes kind of like a little bit like more red and stuff. And basically it tells you, Death's Door, one hit and you're dead. So then like that, I got to that like a couple times, and, there's a way to get out of it. It's like basically if you are able to heal like at all, then you'll move out of the Death's Door thing. But it's like a certain like little threshold.
Is there anything that it gives you like beneficial from being on Death's Door? Like your attack goes up or something?
Not that I remember off the top of my head, or
but I wonder,
maybe there was, but I don't think so.
I wonder if there are like, I'm sure there's got to be talents that are like built around sort of like Death's Door sort of like runs where you want to be on Death's Door because you maybe it ups your power by 50% or something or whatever, or you have infinite ammo or some deal where it's like I'm trying to get really low so that I can really maximize my attack power or something. That sounds entertaining to me, because then it's like super,
I would not be surprised,
high pressure, because it's literally one hit, you're dead, but you're also like a beast until you do die. So that's cool. I like the idea of that. Even if they don't have I know I'm making some of that up because I don't know for sure that it's in there, but that sounds like a fun mechanic that I hope they added in.
And if they don't, then I guess we'll make our own game and put that in. It'll just be called Death's Door.
Yeah.
Wait,
there's already games called. Yeah.
Shit. God damn it.
All the good ones are taken.
Crow. Yeah. I also really like the art of this. Like the pixel art's beautiful.
It is. Yeah.
I feel like everybody's been stepping up their pixel art game lately. I don't know what the deal is.
It's on like the simpler side, but it's still like appealing for what it is.
Well, it's like the sprites are fairly simple, but like some of the, I there's certain like designs are really gorgeous. Like Morgan looks really good. Like the area where you talk to Morgan is really, really beautiful.
Yeah,
with the tree and everything. Cassius's design is really, really cool. He's like this cool vampire dude.
I do like all the like imagery of like the avatars that pop up when you're talking to someone. Like those are well designed. The pixel art of the gameplay itself is more on like the kind of 8-bit side. Well, a blend of 8-bit and 16. Like there's some like 16-bit like I don't know, objects and stuff in the game, but like the backgrounds are pretty low poly, probably to keep it running real smoothly, but also for simplicity's sake, and so you're not like getting lost in your character's not getting lost in the detail of the background.
Right. And you as the character and like the enemy sprites are all fairly small. Like aside from Cassius, like when you're fighting the boss, you know, he's much larger. But it helps to showcase like his transformation and stuff when he's turns into the bat and zooms around and all that kind of stuff. So, which was a very fun fight. I enjoyed that boss fight quite a bit.
That was cool. Yeah. Yeah. I've turned around on this and just talking about it. I might pick up the early access.
I just like talked you into it.
I just, as I'm looking at it and as we're talking about it, I'm like, yeah, there is more to this. And you mentioning the Death's Door thing is like, that's exciting to me in a way that like, even if they don't have it plotted out the way that I assumed they would, I think there's still a cool opportunity there that they might capitalize on later.
So yeah, we'll have to wait and see like what they do and how early access goes and stuff. So more to come.
Power up!
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode so far, do us a favor, throw us a like, a follow, a share, and share the episode or the podcast with folks who love indie games so we can get more of these game recommendations out there and support the indie game devs. We also have a YouTube channel at youtube.com/nerdsloth where you can catch us playing more indie games or check out our top 5 and top 10 series for even more indie game recommendations because we believe there's an indie game out there for everyone.
Combo!
Let's talk about some other indie games we've been playing. TMNT Tactical Takedown for me. I beat the game. It's awesome. Need more, please. That's really all I got to say about it. You talked about it quite a bit in one of our previous episodes, I think sometime last week.
Yeah, but you've definitely played a lot more than I have. I haven't even like gone through the whole first chapter. Like I haven't even played as Leonardo yet. I've done everything up until like Leonardo. Wow. So there's at least like 3 different chapters, I think.
There's 4.
Oh,
4 chapters.
Okay. Yeah. So.
But the 4th chapter is a lot shorter than the other 3. And it's interesting. There's something I want to say about the 4th chapter that like maybe I won't just for spoiler's sake. But like I'll just say the character you get to play in the 4th chapter is somewhat hidden.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, in a way. I'm not going to say they're completely hidden, but kind of, sort of. Once you get there, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But like, I really, really enjoyed it. It was very, very fun. And I really enjoyed for the most part, I enjoyed the kit for each turtle. I think aside from the only one I didn't care for that much was Donatello. I do like his ability to like freeze enemies in place for a turn with his kunai. But other than that, like I didn't care for his kit as much as like the others. I think just because like he did not have a whole lot of movement. Whereas the others like certainly had, I think, a little bit more of a flow to them. I really do like Leonardo's playstyle, so I'm excited for you to be able to get to that. And I really liked Raphael's playstyle as well. Like both of those two specifically, you can combo a lot. And really take out a lot of guys.
Raphael's is really fun because of chaining the kills together, where it's like if I kill this guy, like I regen an action point and I can keep going. And you're like setting it up as like a chessboard where you're just like going through like knocking out enemies one at a time. And like the way that it plays, for anybody who didn't hear like us talking about it before, is very like board game like you are sort of like just miniatures on a board. You even have like little bases under your feet, and that's what it looks like as you're going through, is like a little cardboard setup that's sort of unfolding as you go. So it feels very much like a a game the turtles are playing versus, you know, them actually in combat. Even though I think like in the lore of the actual game, like this is reality, it just feels like you're sort of like setting up game pieces for some kind of board game experience.
Yeah. I think the only thing that I would say is that I really want DLC for this one big time. I think with the Turtles universe, there's so much more they could do with this. Like, this is a great game, like a real small contained thing that has so much potential to be more. And I really hope that they do more with it. I don't know if that's a plan whatsoever, but I really hope so. Because like, yeah, the gameplay of this is so immensely satisfying that it would be a shame if they didn't.
And it's really fun knocking foot soldiers off of the board.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Knocking them over the side is the best thing ever, man.
It's
so
good. Fun because it doesn't matter how much health they have. If you can push them and they're close enough, just knock them off the board.
So what about yourself? What have you played?
Okay, so this is one I talked about a couple episodes ago, just finding out about was Beneath Oresa. And this came out in 2023, September 27, 2023. I just never heard about it. But it's a roguelike deck building game, which is why I was surprised that I had never heard about it. I haven't really seen much mention of it. And even the reviews are kind of mixed, but I haven't read the reviews because I don't want to know why. I wanted to jump in just completely fresh to it. I picked it up on the last episode that we had when we were talking about it because I was really excited. And it was bundled with another game that I had picked up. So I was like, why not? I'll just try it out. And man.
Oh, yeah. Shuffle Tactics.
Yeah. So I was like, man, this game is so good. Even like the first run I did of it, I had such a unique experience because you're going through like it's sort of a side-scrolling action roguelike thing, like a 3D side-scrolling kind of thing. And then like once you have your options as you go through, like, you know, your choices that you have in any roguelikes where it's like, okay, do I want to go for like a harder battle or an easier one? Things like that. Some of it's like linear, but then there are like choices along where it branches off in different paths. And you go through, I think, 3 floors of this, of multiple like options. And the battles are just so satisfying because you have your cards. At least the character that I played, like her thing is like, okay, I need to overcharge myself to like unlock my like cybernetics or something, or like really take advantage of them. But the problem with that is like, it also gives me like a virus in my system, like a computer virus sort of thing in my system that is like
interesting.
Adds cards that if I keep them in my hand and don't play the virus cards, they will do 2 damage to me. And so it's like, okay, I need to figure out how I can maximize like getting a bunch of these virus cards in my deck, because that's what helps me overcharge, and also not getting so many that I'm just slowly killing myself, or my character just slowly dying from all those cards that I have built up. And so it's finding that balance was really fun, but just like the action of the combat itself is just so cool and not something I had really ever seen done before with the deck building roguelike. It's not like the simple, and not that there's any problem with this, that most roguelikes do, or most deck builders do, where it's like one person on the left, one person on the right, we fight, and then it's over. But this one is like a 3D plane. You have different like levels of how close you are to someone. Like there's far and near. So there's just 2 levels. And then like some cards they take advantage of you fighting a faraway enemy, and some, you know, there's some bonuses you get to being near an enemy with certain cards. There was one I had that was like, if I use it on a near enemy, I would take 5 damage. It would still do the damage to the enemy, but I'd take 5 damage. But if I do it on a far away enemy, I get some bonus points for doing it, or some bonus action or something, or more damage and whatnot. So it's like finding a way to both be like mobile and or like pushing enemies away from you, or just like stepping back away from enemies, because there are no like mechanics in the game where it's like, I want to move close, I want to move far. It's like, if you attack, then you engage with the enemy and you are close to them. And like the far and near thing are like bands. So it's not like just one enemy you're close to. If you're on the same band as the other enemies, then you're near to all of them. And then maybe one's far away or something. So it's like all these different like actions that you're going through. And it feels like as much as it is just like it's a turn-based thing, but it looks like a more like fully rendered sort of action RPG. And so it's just like having that blend of both of those mechanics together, or just both those styles together, was just a nice surprise to me. And just seeing how it played out, I was having so much fun with it. And you also have so you start with just one character, And I think I did unlock another one after I beat what I did of my run. I got to the second floor, the boss of the second floor out of the 3 floors. And then that boss just finished me off. But it was a close battle. So I was at least like happy about that for my first run. There are, I think, 9 total characters to choose. Again, you start with just 1 to choose from. And then there are also like companions that you have on top of that, where it's like the one you start with. I don't remember how many companions there are total, but you only get 1 to start with, which is this robot dude. And like what he does is like every time you up your companion level, it's like you draw a few cards and you get to choose one of the cards of his that you're adding to your deck. So it's like a companion, instead of being something that's fighting beside you, is like just helping to build out your deck. And like this robot, like for example, like maybe the card is like, he lets me draw one of my attack cards, but it costs 1 less, or it costs 0 or something, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's just like assistant kind of things on top of your deck, however you're building it. So even with there being 9 characters and however many companions, just the ability to combine all those systems together in sort of like a monster train way lets you have these unique combinations and not just be restricted to, oh, I've chose this character, this is the exact way I have to play it. It's like, no, I chose this character and I chose this companion, so here's the kind of build I want to go for this run. And I just think that's such a cool way to add variety to runs. And also, I just love how like that mechanic is working seamlessly together. I don't know, like I only have good things to say about this game so far. Granted, I'm early on into it, but it's an experience that I am super enjoying so far. I wish I had played this 2 years ago when it came out, but I'm glad I'm finally playing it now.
It looks really cool too, like cell shaded kind of designs and everything, which like is one of my favorite art styles for a game.
I would say like a closest comparison I could think of would be like Borderlands as far as
exactly.
Cell shading goes. Anyway.
Yeah. And then also like the character designs and stuff like very much remind me of Masters of the Universe.
Yes, which you know is appealing to me for sure.
Oh yeah. Which I was like, that's going to be even more reason why you were loving this game. Just like, you know, looking through the screenshots of it, like on Steam, you can definitely see how it looks like Masters of the Universe.
Yeah. So. Speaking of, like, give us a good Masters of the Universe game. I haven't seen, I don't know what they're doing with that property, but they're not taking advantage of it the way they should.
Yeah, give it to us.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I'll do it. Yeah. I also played another game that was sent to us by the developer. This is Highway to Heal. So thank you to Tom from Manufacture 43. This is a top-down arcade-style driving game in a solar punk-style sandbox city called Le Mascaret, where you're playing as a couple of paramedics responding to calls, treating patients, and delivering them to the hospital while you're also trying to maintain and upgrade your ambulance and medical gear. So it's very much like a little bit of... I mean, you're a pair of paramedics, but in a game where you can definitely be the reason people need more paramedics. Because let me tell you, man, I was wrecking into everything trying to drive this ambulance. Like, I kept hitting other cars. I rolled some other cars for sure. Destroyed so many traffic lights. But yeah, it was a fun time, man.
So is it like Crazy Taxi, but like Crazy Medics?
Kind of, sort of. It's not nearly as like over the top as something like Crazy Taxi.
Okay.
But like it can, depending on how you drive it, it can definitely feel that way. So like it got that way a few times for me, and I definitely did ramp off of some stuff. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But like, what gets really hard too is like when you're trying to get like, you know, a patient who needs to be stabilized and you're trying to get them to the hospital and you're really bad at driving in this game and you're like zooming through stuff and ramping off of things. And then all of a sudden, like a little thing pops up, like indicating that you need to, you know, stabilize the patient again. in like a sort of little mini game thing, but you're also driving at the same time. So like you're still trying to navigate, but then also you're trying to like, mash the, I don't know, like X button and have to keep it within a certain range while you're trying to drive at the same time as fast as you can. It can get really, really crazy.
It looks really fun.
It's really cool. So lots of little mini games, even some mid-drive. There's immobilizing, disinfecting, injecting to try to stabilize all these patients. You have to go to a garage quite a bit to get your ambulance fixed up because I'm always destroying it.
Oh, can you like?
But then you can do upgrades.
Yeah,
too.
I was gonna ask if you can soup up your ride. That's fun.
There's things that you can do to like customize the ambulance, upgrade it, get better like equipment and gear in there and stuff. There's also some like visual novel kind of elements to it a little bit too, because you are playing these characters and then you do interact with the patients and stuff in between the crazy driving and all of that kind of stuff. So overall, it was a really, really cool experience. The only caveat I have to this is like my eyes started hurting while I was playing this game, which could be coincidence. But like the one thing I noticed is that everything is like really big, like the character portraits, the word bubbles, everything were way bigger than I feel like normal. And I found that things felt a little bit more comfortable the farther I sat away from the screen while I was playing this. So I was like scooting my my game chair back as far as it would go until I ran into my sound booth.
What I think it is, just from like looking at it as you were talking about that, is the driving part. The cars are so small. And it's so like intricate that you have to like be really close to, or like your eyes have to be like hyper focused on your small like ambulance. And then when those like images pop up with the chat bubbles, those are so big that you almost have to like, your eyes have to zoom out of what they're looking at because they're so hyper focused on this tiny thing. So yeah, I think like they should push those like images with the dialogue back like almost like half of what it is now, and that would probably be ideal.
Yeah, exactly.
Because even just looking at like the screenshot of it, I can see exactly what you mean by how big that is compared to how small the ambulance is. So your eyes having to go back and forth. I can understand why your eyes were probably hurting.
Yeah, I had a really good time with it. Like I wanted to play more, but like my eyes got so tired. I was like, I need a break. I needed a break from this for a little bit, but it's definitely one I would play more of because it was a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah. I wishlisted it already just based on you talking about it. It looks super fun.
So thank you again to Tom for sending this to us.
Final round.
So let's talk about some upcoming indie games we're excited about. I've only got one. You've got none. So this will be real short. But He Is Coming, which releases on July 17th. This is a dark fantasy pixel art roguelike where you explore procedurally generated areas, stock up on loot and gear by day, survive roaming monsters by night, and face a new boss every 3 days until the inevitable confrontation with the Demon King. So it's basically like you were just kind of you're doing your thing and sort of preparing because you know a boss is coming in 3 days. So doing whatever you have to get like the loot, the gear that you need to make sure that you can take out this boss when this boss shows up. And then eventually the main guy, the Demon King, once he shows up. So yeah, boss hunts every 3 days from a pool of over 30, and you kind of have to learn how to defeat each one. So like each boss is totally different way of defeating them and everything. There's over 350 items to create different synergies and builds and everything. This is one that so I haven't played a demo or anything of this, but like I heard so much about this game from like several months ago. I don't know if it was I think it was from the past Steam Next Fest this year, the first one.
Yeah.
And then I heard some folks talking about it from PAX as well. So like this is one that has definitely been on the radar. A lot of people have been talking about it. And like, I really like the art of it too. Just that old school kind of retro computer art
like, this is one of those things where it's like, if you ever feel like you think a game is, I guess, needs like super like high quality graphics to be good, look at this game and then just like how simple it is. Like, it is the most basic like pixel art you can get, where even like the combat is just like enemies kind of like a single still sprite like pushing against each other, like classic RPGs. But I bet the gameplay loop of this is so satisfying that like you will overlook that so quick once you fall into that. I know I will. Like, this is the kind of game I will absolutely jump on, because I know that, like, especially with all the talk that's been going on around it, that it's going to be a really satisfying experience, even though like it's not much to look at. I think it is like, it's appealing, but it's appealing to a certain audience, and we are that certain audience.
Exactly. That's why I want to bring this one up, especially because I knew this would be one that was in your boat, especially with the amount of like the type of games that you bought in this past summer sale.
Yep.
This is like right up there with like that exact niche that you were like gravitating towards.
I think like just lately, especially, I've been very much into like the stepping back, stripping all of the like visuals away from something and just like rebuilding from the ground up, or just like looking at the base mechanics of something. And if the mechanics are good enough, that's enough to drive something for me. So that led me down a whole path with the summer game sale of like, oh, these are games I didn't even know about, because it wouldn't have been something I would have looked at and thought like, oh, this is going to be a great game. But seeing all these other comments on it or whatever, it's like, okay, I see why this is a great game. One I'll just bring up real quick is like Tales of Magiel is like a super simple, like old school, like RuneScape sort of look to it, like classic MMO. This one's not multiplayer, but it's like one where you're like moving one tile and the enemy moves. You move a tile, enemy moves. Like things like that, but it's like super simple style, but it's just like there are different classes to it. There's a lot of like deep mechanics to it that make it an appealing experience to me, even if the graphics are like very, very simple. This came out in 2012, but it's one I just picked up because I know it's going to be one I'm going to jump into and enjoy playing.
Heck yeah, man. I love this surge in games like this that are doing kind of like stripping things down, having a core like fantastic game loop, and then doing the extremely old school retro style graphics, because it's really about the gameplay that's first, and then letting, you know, the graphics are a nostalgic, you know, addition to it, a nostalgic icing on the cake. Yeah.
And that, like, I think that's just like inspirational for game developers in general. And also like games like that, like even the one that's coming out, even if it looks this simple right now, like who's to say it's not going to get like a remaster in the future where it does add like different, like more polished graphics to it, but keeps the core gameplay. Like that's where it's like having a good gameplay base is like what you absolutely need to get started. And that's a prime example of that. So I'm excited about it too.
It looks so good. I like specifically, I want to see you play this. So
I will get super into this.
The satisfaction you're going to get from a game like this, like that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
So
super
use
excited.
a cam so I can see it.
Will do.
Game over.
If you had a good time listening to this episode, stick around for the bumper to learn how you can help support the show and all the things we do here at Sloth Creative. You can also check the show notes for our link tree, which will take you to our social media, Discord, subreddit, merch store, and all the other cool stuff. But get in touch with us and let us know what indie games you guys are playing and help us elevate these games so we can help support indie game developers. But that's game over for us. My name's Chris.
I'm Joseph.
And we'll continue on the next episode.
Continue.
Indie Game Arcade is recorded and produced by Sloth Creative. If you're looking for more gaming content, head over to youtube.com/nerdsloth for indie game let's plays and recommendations. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/nerdsloth, where you can select a pledge and receive access to hundreds of hours of bonus content from everything at Sloth Creative. If you're an indie game developer and would like us to review your game or explore other opportunities, send an email to nerdslothcreative@gmail.com with the subject line Indie Game Arcade. Thanks for listening, and keep supporting indie game devs.